Steve Sammons just called me and said, I'd like to have a painting done for, we're taking down the pictures of the presidents in Schimmel Hall because we have the ones in the Younger Center. Could we have one of your paintings for there? And I said, I don't have any paintings for there. And so he said, well, let's paint one. So the next day, about 7 a.m., I went to campus to look around. But since I took photos there ever since the 60s, I kind of know the spots, the Kodak spots, as I used to call them. Sometimes I cut photos apart, move things around, and like this tree here is generally kind of over the top of the bridge, but if I put it in real life, it would cover the whole building. So I reduced it down like that. And I try to leave out things if they're not important to the detail. I leave them out. This sky isn't just like painted blue. It's like 5 layers of purple and aqua and powder blue and white. So depending on how it undulates, I guess you'd say, it kind of gives it a little more life. I do mostly landscapes and architecture because if you saw me paint a horse, you'd laugh. All of those mountains and that scenery just captures me. I tried to make this panoramic scene balanced, so if you see the perspective line of this building, and it's a very dominant line that leads down, but then it leaves this end of the painting kind of out of balance. So that's why I put the clouds in coming this direction so that they coordinate. It is a lot of work. I'm exhausted usually after 4 hours a day. Not physically, but just trying to keep track of like the old woman in the shoe that had so many kids he didn't know what to do. There's so many details, and so sometimes I would just stop and stare at it for maybe 15 minutes and plan it in my head. Sometimes I even write the progression of what I wanted to do. This tree or this rock or this tree. You know, it's kind of like building a picture puzzle. So my mother liked to draw. She wasn't an artist, but just as a mom, she would encourage us to draw. And then there was this one lettering book that was Old English lettering. And I started writing things in Old English, and that's really how I got started. And by the time I was 14, I started painting people's mailboxes, their names on them and stuff. And that was really my first job. I just like creating things, and I always have. To be able to paint a painting that was of that was really gratifying. Yeah, it was kind of nice closure.
And I notice you have Ephesians in the bottom. Is there a specific meaning behind that you'd like to share, or kind of a meaning to that reference?
Yeah.
You don't have to unless you want to.
I will. Just takes me a minute. So, all the time I was at Corban, I was around Christians, and I was very fulfilled with what God had called me to do, and that's to support the ministry of training students. But I still felt like I wished that I could share the gospel more, but my temperament was I'm just not able to do that well, talk to people about Jesus. And so I started writing about 4 years ago. I wrote 3 novels and a children's book. I made the determination then that every book that I do will have the gospel in it. So then when I switched to paintings, it was the same thing. Now every signature has the gospel and about grace, how God's grace can save us. That's why I do it.